Amber, no, or just leave it.
We're gonna move the park.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think we're all right, straight.
Yeah, they already did.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good to go. Just keep it up.
Is he moving these things around? Which one?
Yeah, I was thinking do them first. Everybody on here? Hickory House second. Fourth. The minutes. I'm looking forward.
Do you need it? I have it.
I just want for me to sign.
Oh,
If that's,
okay.
You'll be getting a lot of calls tonight.
I was gonna say.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, these are the worst, these are the worst times. Especially, well, the good thing
Well,
is,
good
it's a
thing
weekend.
it's a weekday.
Weekday, exactly, exactly. If it was a Friday,
Yeah.
it'd be a long Friday night.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. Thanks.
Good, thank you. Passing out to the others at the appropriate time. Oh, night shift. He's thinking. No Elias tonight?
No, I printed them out. I'll be right back. Okay. The kids.
There's a lot of that, there's a lot of that.
Thanks.
We're lucky that all. They like, stop it, you know, like, I like. So we have to figure it. So true.
My daughter.
Can they keep you in good shape?
Ready, Pete?
Set, I'm gonna push record.
Recording in progress.
The video's going.
Okay, so call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is the minutes from November 5th. We have a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes on November.
I have one correction, which is for the minutes of the meeting in 1:25. The vote was actually 4-0 with one abstention because it wasn't.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
So with that, I'll make a second.
Motion to approve the minutes with a correction. 4-0 for the minutes of 10.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Does anybody have any objections? We might, switch up the agenda a little bit. We've got a couple that might go a little quicker. Black Acres and Hickory House, could we put those, move them to the front? Anybody have any objection? That being said, we'll do first Black Acre LLC, Richville Road. Applicants requesting to construct a 43-unit workforce housing project on a vacant parcel of land across from Richville Road, across from Green Mountain Estates. Tell the truth, nothing but the truth? Thanks.
Tim, quick update, you've all received the H&H study. And you'll note at the last paragraph, it said, Ryan Libby, the engineer, suggested moving the building site around on the property. So we've started that process, but in light of what the town has presented to Black Acre, which I'm sure you've read in the news, we'd like to, I don't know if there's a possibility of a recess, a closed recess. I don't know what.
We can, we can close the hearing without prejudice, and you're welcome to come back at any point in time.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you?
Like to do, we're.
I don't see any sense in spending another 10 or 20 grand on design when there's a pretty good offer on the table that is out in 90 days. So if the town doesn't come through in the 90 days, then maybe we come back. Yeah.
Someone want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to close without prejudice.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks very much. Okay, next up, Hickory House, 145 Elm Street. Applicants requested a change of use at this location from retail to indoor recreation. Will we swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth? Thanks. Want to give us a overview, what you're looking to do?
Yeah, so we are going to change from retail to golf simulator lounge. So we have two simulators in the front space, which used to be retail. And then we have a small bar in the middle space and in the back's a lounge. So it's going to fit around 23 to 24 seats. And we are kind of in the process of just waiting on a permit so we can kind of open. We've been working on it at this moment, but we're looking to kind of get things moving before the holidays.
What's the square footage of the space you'll be?
I think it's about 1,800 square feet.
1,800?
What are the hours?
So we will have hours. It's going to be 7 days a week, probably 11 to 8 during the week, or 11 to 9, and then weekends, most likely probably 10 to 10 o'clock. And then we'll have access for members to use it after hours, where there'll be a security code, and then they can just use the simulators, and then the bar and lounge will be closed off.
Peter, 1,800 square feet, right?
The ordinance says 1,500 or under, but it's again, it's right.
It might actually be 15. I think we might.
I guess the critical point here is that if it's under 1,500 square feet, there's a parking waiver per se. If it's over 1,500 feet, you'll have to make the appropriate parking. We'll have to go through the whole process of the.
Here's the section right here.
You've got, it's down at finished building area, 3,632, is that?
Well, that's the size of the building, but you're not taking the whole building, you're just taking a part of the.
Yeah, we're in the main building. There's to the right of us another business. And I think that's zoned in that.
That we've got highlighted in yellow is the square footage of like 1,285 is what it says there.
Price is 1,285, yeah.
Okay, so, but he testified 1,800, so is it, we gotta know the exact square footage, because I'm talking to the attorney. today. She said that the way our ordinance is written, that you could have a 10,000 square foot building.
Okay.
If you had 1499 square feet in each space, then it would fall under the waiver for the parking. But if it's over 1,500 square feet, it does not.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure that it is
Under the 1,500.
under 1,500 square feet.
Okay. So what would be the process for us? I mean, we can confirm that. If that's the only thing holding up, is there anything we can do to
Unless
not wait until the next?
you have parking available?
Yeah, we have parking in the back. It's about 6 spots and then we have the public parking right in front. Yeah.
But again, we'd have to do the parking calculation on that. Because we don't have that information now. You'd have to come back for that. If you are under, and we could make a contingent on the fact that you are under 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
And, okay.
So we're making what, the vote contingent on?
Did I send you the lease, Peter? It probably has a square footage in there.
I don't think so. I have the property card that the town of Manchester uses for assessing purposes and identifies the section that you're talking about as 1,285 square feet.
Peter, what's the green directly behind that yellow?
That's a garage. That's a non-heated portion of the building.
So would the garage be considered part of this?
You're using that only for storage, is that correct?
It is a lounge.
Oh,
So
So it's just like seating. It's a lounge, it's a TV. Yeah, lounge. We've renovated it.
garage? You're going to use the garage space.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a garage space at all. I mean, we've put double doors. And it's another entrance now.
So that puts you at 260 plus.
Right, which puts it over the 15.
Puts it over the 15. That requires you'd have to provide parking.
information.
Okay.
So how many spaces would he need for this, for? 21st solution?
Yeah.
Well, then you'd have to figure the whole building, is that correct, Peter?
Yes.
So you'd have to,
We did build a closet, but I don't know if that's. Yeah, so I guess the square footage, so we have added additional closet space in the bathroom hallway. So I don't know if it's just, that is all essentially open space. Is that considered what the square footage is, or is it actually what we use? You can walk in.
you use,
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be even close to that number. I mean, it's probably 12 to 11 then.
Could you provide us with a document that says what you're planning on using?
Yeah,
Footage?
yeah, with the walls and everything,
No, just the floor area.
floor area. Okay. I did give you some type of doc last month, breaking down how the layout looks with the walls and such.
Elias has got the
Floor plan.
plan.
What was your timeline on this? Did you mention you wanted to be open for the holidays?
Yeah.
Christmas? This. So.
I mean, that's when everyone's in town.
I mean, again, if it's under 1,500 square feet, I don't see an issue with parking, but if it's over 1,500 square feet, we'd have to calculate the whole building. You'd have to see what the uses are of the rest of the building. Consider what is required for parking in the whole building. That could,
East side's 1,500 feet. That's what-
I can send the lease over to Peter if you would like.
I mean, I guess we could close and if it's over,
Close and not make a motion on approval.
well, we don't. We'll have to write up a set of findings anyway, so we can close the hearing. And then
Contingent on the.
contingent on it's under 1,500 square, well, we can close the hearing. And we write the findings, if it's under 1,500 square feet, we're good to go. If it's over 1,500 square
We
feet,
gotta do the parking.
he's gonna have to come back.
Okay, so then I'd make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I guess the best thing for you to do is get in touch with your landlord or go measure out the shop. Get Peter a set of plans as far as the actual dimensions of the space you're going to be using.
Okay.
And hopefully it comes up under 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're, and it's still, it's gonna be tough because we've got it. I mean, legally, we have 45 days to make a decision. But I'm sure we can get it out sooner than that. But, Christmas is kind of pushing it, but we should be able to get something out to you.
I appreciate that.
So is motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Abishan, 1131 Depot Street. Applicant is appealing a notice of violation issued by the zoning administrator. Who'll be testifying tonight. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth? Thanks.
Good evening, Justin McNell, the Director of Retail Ops for the Obashan Company here in Kent. Thank you. What we did after our last meeting, we made the promise that we would commit to visual evidence that the new process of the vehicles, the delivery trucks backing in and out of our property, that we could document that. I'd like to share on the screen. Is that possible?
Mhm.
Go ahead, John.
Right now, it says sharing, it's now turned on, host is now sharing. Well, could you join the meeting?
Yeah, we're on the meeting.
Okay, and you're looking to share, and I don't see your request in here, but another way. You do like a mirroring,
Saying that it's not turned on. But the host isn't allowing sharing. It looks like it's sitting on your end.
like any help. Anybody have any Zoom experience in the house? Or doctor in the house? No, you want to take a look, see if there's, you see it?
You know where?
What name you signed in for?
It's under Justin Bicknell.
Well, you're in right now.
You're in.
You can see him on the screen.
Co-host?
Yeah.
You're now the co-host. And now you're equally responsible for this. Got it?
Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, I appreciate that. Oh, you may have to stop your sharing. That may be part of the problem.
Now you have to get back in.
So we, as promised, we were taking photos from last July. This is dated by the date, and I apologize, I think this is 8/20. So John, if you want to go forward. This is just the first image, one of our main distributors pulling in. You can see on the right, there was an individual from the store team. This is another image of the vehicles backed in. That's just under a month later. Again, you can see the gentleman with the flag. And then later that week, another delivery, one of our main distributors. Once again, we have a team member outside marked with safety PPE. And then just additional imagery of various different vendors pulling in. And you can see there's a vehicle pulling into our lot, plenty of space for them to get in. And this is a more recent with some of the inclement weather. Once again, consistently, we have team members outside guiding and supporting the delivery. And we do have a video. This was in October, I believe. Just to kind of give you a live image of it. And you'll see in a moment when the truck backs into the lot, the team member that's out assisting will be present right now. He's currently on the main road guiding any of the traffic or the truck in. And as I mentioned in July, we notified all of our main distributors and some of the smaller ones, secondary ones. This was our new procedure. We went through some training with each of them to, comply with this. We had a few snags early on, but that was remediated very quickly. All of them at this point get on the phone and call the store 20 to 30 minutes ahead of our delivery. Some of these vendors actually deliver to RK miles up the road, which makes it very convenient because when they're ready to unload there, they'll call us and say, hey, we'll be to your store within 20, 30 minutes. That way, if there's any traffic in the lot, we can cordon off areas if we're concerned about safety. And we purposely, and we have a whole portfolio of photos. If we want to look through them all, we certainly can. There's literally months of them. But we purposely showed some photos of different varying degrees of inventory levels outside because I believe that was a concern about how much stock we have out. So you saw some videos of us during the summer, the fall, and obviously recent with some of the inclement weather. And there's our team member flagging the driver in. I think that was the end of the video, John. So as promised, we've committed to ensure we would follow better safety protocols of vehicles backing in. We've had absolutely no reported incidents of safety concerns, no customer complaints, no vendor complaints. It's been very seamless and in a good way, not impactful negatively.
Well, I talked to Agency of Transportation there last week, and they said that if it was a new curb cut, they probably would not allow it at this point in time where it is. But because it's been 15 years now, and they haven't had any reports of any accidents, they said that it probably makes sense to let it go as it is. But if there does become a problem, then we'd have to revisit it at that time.
Understood.
They were a little concerned that the railroad didn't have anything to say about it. But I haven't heard anything from the railroad. I don't know if Peter has. Just because they are going on to the railroad tracks.
Sure.
And even when you drive in, when people are leaving, if a customer driving in actually has to go on railroad tracks sometimes to get into the site.
Mhm.
But that's what I found out from Department of Transportation. Talk about that. The only question I did have nothing to do with this part of it, but on the front of the building, where the outside storage is underneath the canopy there.
Yep.
is it supposed to be just under the canopy? Because sometimes I've been there when there's stuff out in front, and I thought it was supposed to be set up so when you park in front of the building there would be enough space to walk through between the front of your car and the walkway, not have to get out, walk around behind the car in the parking lot back in. But is that doable, or is that?
Yeah, that's completely manageable. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So
This is near store.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
So, right now, the way that we have, it, pretty much I have one big, maybe like 4 or 5 feet, so there's nothing blocking it. Then we also have that cordon area on the side, which is in yellow, which is for glass to display our stuff. And then the trees are all back,
Yeah.
and they're not interfering with any of the side.
But is it, there's a few times that in the, where you do park your car up against the front of the building, where there's on the left-hand side of your door, there's stuff that's out in the,
No, that's gone now, the shopping carts, I moved them. So
okay,
there's 3 on one side, 3 on one side, and 3 on the other, and so they're not out in the middle anymore.
okay,
Same thing with the-
okay.
They're split up.
Yep. Any other questions to the board? Any questions to the audience?
Motion closed.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So we'll get a set of, again, we'll get a set of findings out. Okay, next up. Snowden LLC. 575 Depot Street. Applicant is requesting to demolish the existing building on the property or buildings on the property and construct a new valves and oil change on the property. As the last meeting, you know, if anybody wants to speak, the board will ask questions first. If anybody in the audience has any questions, we'll take those questions, but if you have anything new to bring up, we've talked about it a lot. So if you have something new, we'll be willing.
That's
If you have something new, we'll be interested in hearing. Or it's all the truth, nothing but the truth? Thanks.
You want to go to the landscaping plan, it's probably the easiest plan to talk to for now. Then we can look at the building elevations. Again, Steve Wilson with Bowler on behalf of the applicant. So we did the site visit with you a couple weeks ago. And then we had, just today, we had a meeting with the DAC where we got the referral here. So I guess I was going to run through the changes that came out from the site meeting and then some additional changes that came out again from the DAC from earlier today. And I also have Gordon Stansberry, my traffic engineer. He's going to talk about, we submitted a traffic study as requested by the board, and he can talk about that as well after I talk about the site changes and the building. Yeah, going. There you go. Want to zoom in on the site? Might see. So from the site discussion, from the site meeting, one of the key changes that came out of that discussion was maintaining the existing curb line on these on this driveway. So we are no closer to Highland Avenue. So we brought that curb line in to match existing. This one got shorter as well. These are closed in and this one is closed in. So all three existing driveways have been reduced from their current condition. And then there was some additional discussion at that site meeting about
more landscaping in the large area in the back and changing some of the species. We added red maples along here. We added some rhododendrons along the back. Subsequent to that, so at the DAC meeting today, we had quite a lengthy discussion on landscaping. We made some additional changes to the landscaping plan. And those include, we're increasing the size of all our trees from 2.5 to 3 inch caliber. We're increasing the shrub sizes from 24 to 30 to 36 inches. We're adding 3 planting beds in this island and in this island with daylilies. And we're adding some additional dwarf lilacs here and here. And that would bring the new trees and shrubs on the site to a site that has 0 now to about 60 trees and shrubs on the property, along with planting beds here, 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 and here, and here. So we'll be pretty intense with landscaping. And to remind the board too, there's currently 1,200 square feet of green space on the property. We're bringing that up to 15,000 with the landscape. I think the only other change, so to speak, from the site plan, we also updated our lighting plan. If you want to go to the lighting sheet there. Well, if we can see the fixture. See it here. So per our previous discussion, we updated the site lighting to this bell-shaped fixture head. And we had shown them at 16 feet on our lighting plan. Based on conversations with the DAC, we're bringing those down to 11 feet and keeping that bell-shaped lighting fixture as requested. The important thing is, so that lowering the lights means more light, more fixture heads, just to meet. You want to get the site lighting up to an average of about 1 foot candle across the site for safety and security reasons, like the model Peter. So it's important to know, even with the additional fixtures, we will site these new fixture heads. I'm going to give you for example. So right now, to get about a foot candle across the site and have those spillage at the property lines, we're at like 0.1, 0.2, so we're basically darkening our property lines. We have like 3 lights here. That might have to, since we're lowering them, that'll be more light heads. So we might have 4 there as opposed to 3. I just don't know. Either way, our photometrics won't change. We will maintain that no spillage at the property lines for the lighting plan.
What's your hours for your lights?
Well, that was quite a bit of discussion at the DAC meeting as well. Our intent was, and we drove around the town tonight, our intent was to leave them on. Again, we don't have spillage at the property line. Well, we have more lights there than are currently now. They are all dark sky friendly, downlit. Our intent was to keep them on overnight for safety and security purposes, not have a dark site.
I'm just wondering if you consider an idea about maybe the front and a little bit of the back, but not the whole property. You know, I don't know how that works. Wise,
We have quite a bit of discuss. I mean, you know, people walk through the site. They're gonna, you know, off hours. If the site's dark, you know, that creates some liability issues. You know, if the site's dark, something happens. Slip and falls are a problem if the site's not adequately lit. No, that's a problem, safety and security, you know, to have a safely lit site and maintain that 1 foot candle. But the more important takeaway is we're not spilling off the site. Those are the big takeaways from the landscape and lighting and BAC. If you want to scroll to the building elevation, I could talk about the changes we discussed as well. And so our takeaway from last time, we updated the shingles to a gray composite that looked like slate tiles from a distance. And then we also included this arch detail, this entry over the top of the front end. Match the rest of the building and maintain that consistency. Some additional feedback we got at the DAC was to increase our, the water table here by about 10 inches, increase that stone to reduce some of the massing on the sides of the building where there's limited windows. We're also going to increase our corner boards, which are currently at 6 inch to 8 inches to give it a little more beefy look. And we're going to have our front door as a matte black. And did I get anything else you have notes, Peter? I think those are my.
Steve, I thought the architect wanted to keep the matte black to match the garage doors as well, the bay doors. Wasn't he trying to make sure that the bay doors were gonna match that?
You're right, right. Right, we're gonna have, I'm sorry, yes, we're gonna have the black paint scheme on the front door match the overhead. That was our.
There was some discussion on the rear doors, service doors.
Yes. So that was a suggestion about having panelized doors here, so they look a little less commercial and they provide a little more historic character. Any more questions on that? If you want to scroll to the traffic study, I never Gordon.
Any questions from the board on the design?
Talking about one of those two pages right there for those tables. Anyway, thank you.
Let's start with the first table here.
There's a question.
So as requested by the board, we prepared a preliminary or a detailed traffic study to evaluate towards our traffic engineer, been doing a long time. As long as I have. Works for you. But, go ahead. Thank you.
Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Good evening. Just a quick introduction. My name is Gordon Stansberry. I'm a sole proprietor, GTS Consulting. I've been doing nothing but traffic engineering for just about 30 years. I am a licensed professional engineer in New York State and a certified professional traffic operations engineer with the Institute of Transportation Engineers. I was asked to look at this site specifically in terms of trip generation potential. How much traffic could the site generate? So I looked at it under two different pieces, the existing development and the proposed development. The existing development on the site includes a 1,500 square foot convenience store with 4 fueling positions, 1,500 square foot auto service garage, and a 2,000 square foot sit-down restaurant. The proposed development's a 2,230 square foot Valvoline with 3 service bays. The trip generation estimates were developed using the IT trip generation, which is the national standard for estimating traffic for developments. The first table, this is the existing development. Looking at the 3 uses, the potential total trips generated between the convenience store, auto service, and the restaurant combined is approximately 550 trips per day entering and exiting. During the peak hours, the total trips generated are in the range of 40 to 50 cars entering and exiting.
A portion of the traffic generated is drawn from existing traffic that's passing the site on the main road. And a portion of the traffic is what we call new trips or direct trips. Those are people that specifically leave their house or leave their business to go to the site and then go back to where they're coming from. The standard assumptions for these type of uses are pass-by rates in the range of 20 to 50%. So we would estimate that the existing site today has the potential to generate up to 272 direct trips per day, about 20 to 30 direct trips during the peak hours, and the other, generally half of the traffic, would be traffic already passing the site on the adjacent roadways. We then, if you want to go to the next page, looked at the trip generation potential for the proposed development. IT again has a specific land use, a quick lube shop. It's based on the number of service bays. The IT estimate for the proposed development is approximately 60 trips per day entering and exiting. Again, with about half of that traffic drawn from the adjacent street, so about 30 direct trips per day. Looking at the peak hours, it is a very low generator, roughly 5 to 10 cars entering and exiting during peak hours. If you think about the typical Valvoline operation, an oil change takes 10 to 15 minutes. So if you had 3 bays, the maximum traffic potential, assuming 15 minutes, would be 4 cars per bay, would be 12 cars entering and exiting in an hour. So then we did a comparison. If you scroll down a little bit more, the proposed development versus the existing development as far as traffic generation potential. The proposed development would reduce the traffic generation potential by approximately 490 cars a day, 30 to 40 cars per hour during the peak hours, which represents a decrease in the traffic generation potential of anywhere between 83 and 88%. So it's a substantial reduction in traffic generation. It'll reduce the number of cars turning in and out of the site. It'll reduce congestion across the frontage of the site because you'll have less turning movements. And it'll also marginally reduce the traffic in the area because the new direct trips will be reduced. So that was the gist of what we were asked to look at. So, you know, my professional opinion is from a traffic standpoint, I have zero concerns because it's a massive reduction in traffic generation for the site. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions. I think you title this trip generation review. So how was that different than a traffic safety study?
So a development of this size, in my opinion, doesn't warrant a full traffic impact study. A full traffic impact study would be you go out and you collect turning movement counts, you complete capacity analysis for the intersections, you do an existing condition, a background condition. So say a year out, you grow the traffic volumes, then you do another analysis, then you take your trips generated and you add them to the intersections and driveways. You do another capacity analysis to identify the impact of the additional traffic. I can tell you with less than 10 cars and the reduction in traffic generation, if we were to do that study, your levels of service are going to improve because your net traffic is going to go down as far as turning movements and whatnot. I did look at some preliminary stuff just for just kind of a sensibility check. Looked at historic traffic volumes on the adjacent street, which I talked about on the next page. That might be a couple pages down, be page 4. I looked at historical traffic volumes from the DOT website. Depot Street carries approximately 9,900 cars per day passing the site. Looked at some historical counts back from 1990 that just gave me a rough directional split. Traffic is pretty evenly split on that road, about 52%, 48% eastbound, westbound. A standard engineering assumption is that the evening peak hour is roughly 9% of the daily traffic. That's a number I've been using for 30 years across all municipalities that I deal with. It would be estimated that Depot Street currently has about 400 to 450 cars in each direction passing in front of the site during the evening peak hour. So what I use that number for is to look at potential gaps in traffic for turning in or out of the site. That would give you an average gap of 7 to 9 seconds between vehicles. The standard gap required for a car to make a turning movement is 6 to 9 seconds. So it falls right in that standard range to where I'm comfortable that people could safely turn in and out of the driveways. I also looked at sight lines from the existing driveways. The sight lines are over 500 feet looking in each direction, or over 500 feet looking to the west, over 1,000 feet looking to the east. These are very good sight lines for the operating speed out there. So there's no concern from a safety standpoint with the ability to turn in and out of the driveways. So this is kind of what I would call a traffic study light version without the full depth analysis. I don't feel it's warranted for this development.
So I was gonna have Peter pull up the site map, but I think everybody sort of knows it. One of my concerns was just, well, really the double exit, and it being adjacent to an intersection. So when you have a car exiting, there's no requirement for it to go left or right. And then you've got another intersection with people going left or right. The ability for these cars to see the pedestrians going down the sidewalk, see the cars exiting Highland, and knowing that, you know, somebody's going to turn right here, they want to go left, and the potential for an accident to happen, quite frankly. Not only for vehicles, but also for the pedestrians, because your line of sight, if there's a car right next to you, if it's a bigger car, you're not going to be able to see that there's somebody coming down. So that was one of the intersection points that had me concerned about the traffic flow. And I was hoping your analysis would sort of take some of that into consideration. And I didn't really see anything covered from that standpoint.
Yeah, I did not specifically look at that as an issue. Again, the proposed driveways are in the same location as existing driveways today.
But they're not the same flow. So there's not a double exit in this area. And do I understand that it's gonna be less cars? So your assumption is it's safer, but I just think the traffic flow is different with the double cars being, you know, the double exits again, the line of sight with a car next to you. How can you see safely that there's not a pedestrian or a car coming down?
I can certainly understand the concern about a side-by-side exit driveway.
If we're talking about, you know, service takes 15 minutes to discuss with the car coming out every 15 minutes. It's not like there's just.
You only need 2 cars and 1 person to have an accident. So I understand the volume's less. I'm not disputing that. I'm worried about the ability to see pedestrians, bikes, another vehicle with that double exit right there.
Plus you have 3 bays that people are egressing from. It's not just one every 15 minutes. It potentially could be 3 at the same time if they're all being serviced at the same time, right?
I would argue that it's probably exceptionally rare to have 3 exits at the same time. So I mean, we can look at the option of reducing that to a single lane exiting just at the main road.
It's possible, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And from an operational standpoint, I would have no concern with that being a single lane exiting, just because of the low traffic volume. You're not going to have cars exiting side by side, and if they have 2 cars done at the same time, they can release them separately so that they don't exit side by side simultaneously. I'm not concerned with stacking distance if it's a single lane, given the low volumes. You're talking about 1 car every
Yeah, I think minutes. Get this down to 1 lane, we can certainly, I think we can make that adjustment. Again, cars pull out, waits, somebody's waiting here, it's not that much of a delay considering the volume of traffic, so we can make that adjustment.
It's not atypical for agencies to require a single lane at the roadway.
Any questions for the board? Question on the traffic? Okay,
As our thing did make the arrangements, oh, I mean, I'm not for it, but it is suggested to get plan change, why not just say no left turns? Because that's the biggest problem even in that intersection. I mean, it doesn't matter, whatever you guys decide, I'm not for it, the fact is, if you want to change some things or have any ideas for this, in a realistic perspective. No left turns, single lane. Just a thought, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm against it, in fact, even to talk about this as a real question. Parking miles change your entrance. Just even to give you guys a little leg up, I'm just throwing it out there.
okay,
Yes,
thanks. Any other questions on? Yes,
I hear you right on the sideline, we use 1,000 feet and 500.
That's the measured sight lines. You can see 500 feet into the curve and 1,000 feet in the other direction.
Our approach, you can see the Valvoline for 1,000 feet.
No, it's the person exiting the driveway. So when we look at sight distance, we look at the person that is stopped at the side of the road waiting to turn out. That's the distance that you can see an oncoming.
Sideline for a car coming in, seeing that person.
That would be the same.
Would be the same. So you could see the Valvoline from 1,000 feet.
Not the store. I'm talking about a car at the roadway waiting to turn out. It's the ability to see cars potentially making turning movements from a safety standpoint. The sight lines are adequate to
There's no
accommodate a
other-
driveway.
There's no other building near the Firefly is going, so if you could see that car, you could see the building.
Not necessarily because the building is set further off the road.
I have a question, or actually two questions about the plans themselves. One is about curb cuts, and I've raised this, I think in conversation at the site visit. I went to Google Satellite and I was looking at the Rutland Lane establishment off of Highway 4, and I see there are no curb cuts on the adjacent Gold River Road, as far as I can tell. Is that true, even though the only building is approximately, as far as I can tell, 150 to 200 feet from that side street? In this case, it appears that there are curb cuts, even though the neighboring properties are like 40 feet. So I was wondering if you could give a reason again for those side street curb cuts, which is what the residents are in particular concerned about.
I'm not sure what that will. Again, it would provide a form of entrance to the site to support, customer service coming in from that part of our town. They don't have to kind of do the loop. Helps with deliveries, traffic, garbage pickup, that kind of thing. Cars can come in, get garbage and go. Just helps facilitate with site circulation. We did have a conversation. I provided, at DAC, I provided a couple board members that don't have it. We had a conversation with Jeff Williams over at the driveway and he confirmed his only request, and this is the copy of that email that we confirmed, you didn't get it and you didn't get it. He agreed the acceptable mitigation was do not enter signs at the exit.
That's the first question, and I know you're looking, but the second one is the upstairs for the plan itself. What's the purpose of that upstairs? Is it an office? Is it a residence? If it's not a residence, that goes against the mixed use purpose that is outlined in the ordinance. So are people going to be living above the outline?
They're going to be a little bit above the belt.
That, my understanding is that is required by our zoning.
As a functional second
as a
floor.
Functional second floor.
Nothing is,
So it's
doesn't
not
require
that they
residence.
requested that, we requested that there be a second floor.
It's a functional second.
That has
Functional
to be
second floor.
yes.
Okay.
And I think in an earlier meeting, you had stated it would be office space, and
That's right, that's it, that we all.
I think that's,
Definitely functional space, yeah.
Question?
Are you expecting deliveries to go up Island Avenue from Depot Street? You mentioned deliveries go up.
Not normally, but it's an option that they could use. Again, it's not high volume deliveries. There's monthly pickup for oil, there's periodic garbage pickup. And then periodic delivery of supplies. It's not an intensive, kind of delivery feature.
Actually, I thought the site, the neighbor was gonna use part of the site to pick up their garbage too, because they couldn't get to the dumpster, if I
That's
remember.
part of it too. This neighbor, that's right. So he has a propane tank here and he currently uses this dumpster, the dumpsters that are there. And his only form of access to that to his propane in the back of his building is through our site. That's what I'm sorry. Yeah.
Bill?
I was reading from your site design standards. And it clearly says that creating, minimizing this is rental and the number and size of curb cuts serving any problem. And also the interrelation. If you go looking at our standards, and we're starting with green space like this, I don't see any justification for all those three curb cuts, just because they pre-exist. When you start with a new space like this, a green space, the idea is to improve on it, not continue the existing, particularly if it's a bad layout. And they're telling us relatively small amounts of traffic. All the entrance onto, why can't all the entrance onto coming out of the building be diverted to the right into that one exit?
you mean away from the intersection with Highland?
Yeah, that intersection from, put that close to Highland Street is a disaster waiting to happen. When people are looking down Depot Street for traffic, particularly if you're gonna make a left-hand turn coming out of there. And people are coming out of Highland and making a right-hand turn. And you don't have any distance in between for deciding who goes first.
Well, I think the gas station that's there now, we talked to the lady there and they said they did about 120, was it 120, 125?
25, yeah.
125 per day. And that's where the existing curb cuts are now. And I don't think we've had any problems in the past with accidents.
I have no incidents now.
We're reducing the width of all three.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that in the past, if there'd been 125 in and out, and we're talking 40 or 50, I mean, that's cutting it down quite a bit. And if we haven't had an accident with 125, it's kind of hard to say that we're going to be having an accident with less. I'm just saying.
I believe the proposal for the Highland is just an entrance only, is that right?
That's right. So this, you want specifics, this is currently 103-foot wide driveway. And it's pretty much a free flow. We're necking it down to 16 feet. This one is currently 35 feet, we're bringing it down to 24. And this one's currently at 40, and this plan shows it bringing it down to 30 feet. And then I guess we're talking about possibly even necking it down a little bit just so we have one lane out. So this is a substantial reduction in the.
I mean, most of the time, obviously, people entering firefighter entrance going out against all of that side of that property. So therefore, even left turn and right turn is more safer on that side, so that's where I mean, if you're saying accident prone, that's the reason why, I bet you it's 75% high. Anybody that goes in here to get gas, I've always seen them pull in facing, the deli. Honestly, I can speak her around, how many people can.
Any questions on or you got a question of,
I have a question about that Highland entrance, because I came to all the meetings and I thought it was a one-way exit only. That was the final decision.
it was entrance only because Jeff was concerned if it was an exit, local people might want to go out there, take a left, go up to the stop sign, go around, hit the light. So he wanted it, that was Jeff's concern.
An entrance only.
That is correct.
If you can make a right turn at Eagle 62 and that like cut off the corner.
I still have to raise the question that if there have one car coming out of there every 15 minutes out of each day, 12 cars an hour or so, why 3 exit lanes? What's the necessity of that? Our idea is to reduce blacktop and all those issues, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Don't understand.
It's currently two lanes exiting right now, Bill,
Well,
not 3.
Is that on the plan that being shown?
no, you mean currently the way to go.
There's 3 on the
There's 3 exits.
There's 3 on the plan.
Yeah,
There's 3 exits.
Right there. Yeah, all the time.
3 on the plan.
Yeah.
reality is people get.
Right, and people, yes. People will ignore that.
Any other questions?
Not on traffic.
Design? Any question on design?
I'm good with the design.
Bill?
I didn't know, I thought you were going to question first and then taking stuff from the audience.
That's what we're doing now. We're taking questions from the audience.
So I'd like to go back to lighting
Okay,
and redo the standards in the plan. Again, the design standards for lighting and but anyway, there's clear statements about lights must be turned off at 10 p.m. And you adjust for security issues by putting motion sensors in. Unless you find a very significant reason that additional lighting is required for security and or other.
is that just for the I think it's just the building, that's just the building, I think, right?
Exterior.
I mean, does Shaw's do their lights? Doesn't Shine? Oh, maybe we ought to talk to them.
So then they make just a general statement, oh, we want this security and so on.
Well, I'm just saying that I think, I think that refers to the interior lights, but if it's exterior as well.
It's exterior, absolutely.
But we allow there are other places in town that leave their lights on all night. I think Shaw's does. Does Shaw's leave their lights on all night, Bill? Shaw's, the supermarket? I think their lights are on all night, correct? Maybe not. The blue lights?
Can you give a variance?
What's that?
Said that all their people are getting a variance. So I was wondering why.
Yeah.
Is it Shaw's in the village, though?
Half of it is. Half of that.
Half of the person.
Last meeting, where we discussed the lighting extensively during the last meeting. So on my way home, which is across the street from Alvin, which takes 3 minutes to get there. The entire side of the town did not have a single parking lot that was surrounded by the sides, the supermarket, the plazas in the back, security behind Rainbow Jacks, behind the liquor store, the outlet, there was 0 lights across from this gallery where the Brooks Brothers was. 0 lights, 1 degree, back by the Friends of the Sun, there was 2 lights. So when I came up Depot Street, looking towards my building, that will all be lit up, circled by lights on and on. And it will entirely change the feeling of the town and the feeling of the depot. The city will be open and it will be surrounded and no other properties have that. It is very interesting.
Okay, thanks.
Also, we have a level of personal and professional etiquette in the depot.
building goes in anybody else's dumpster, is zero behind that. I used to live here for some years. And everyone looks at everybody else's dumpsters. Maintain that. If someone isn't picking up their drop-ins, then there's kind of a gentle persuasion to get them to do that. And so we run a tight ship down there, and to think that people are really breaking and validating and using their dumpster is a poor read on the neighborhood and the town.
Okay.
I also want to mention something too, on property after hours, if someone's walking through, even on my property, people cross going to the Palmer House. So they're coming down my alley, I've got people on camera from security, but I have motion sensors. And also with our infrared, they get the quality images, they got facial recognition in a sense of ring cameras, excuse me. That's where it picks up. I don't have exterior lights, I work a lot late, I'm there till whatever, it's not go there, but anyway. People do walk to my property and I'm not liable for them realistically in the Vermont laws. I mean, you're not, they hurt themselves, they trip, whatever, but if someone robs you, I can understand that's why you have cameras, so lighting is really an issue as well, everyone.
There's a very clear standard on the lighting that they are proposing to adhere to.
That's why I brought up the hours. Yeah, but yes,
In this section of those voting from the ordinance, 9.311 historic sites. For land use and development involving historic sites, the project shall not have undue adverse effect on historic sites. This firefight's a historic structure by definition of in the ordinance. I mean, in the ordinance.
right. Thanks.
My question is.
Well, I think it was deemed it's,
Adverse effect.
I think it was not considered a historic site, is that correct?
Firefly location is not located in the.
That was confirmed by the state.
That was confirmed by the state,
Wait.
state of Vermont.
What was that? What was that statement?
Peter, the state of Vermont,
It's not on a state.
It's not on the
register or Federal
registry.
register.
State of Vermont.
That's correct, but it's a historic structure based on our definition.
But you stated site, so
Our ordinance.
you said site,
you stated site.
Sites, right. And if you have a historic structure, it becomes part of the historic site. Big difference between a historic structure and being on the state register of historic sites. Big difference.
okay,
This has adverse effect on a historic site. 150 years. Big difference.
Bill? Bill?
I'll say that. During the operation of this, and I don't know if anybody can answer, but typically most service centers, when the warm weather comes, and it becomes tension, but, you know, they leave your doors wide open. And so we're putting a building at our entrance to the town, and character of the neighborhood is a big issue here. Are we gonna see, you know, just open service bays, cars on a lift and so on? And if that's your normal business hour, the depiction of the building and closed doors is not representative of the architecture that we're going to be seeing as we drive by this place. So I think this has a very detrimental impact to the character of the neighborhood. And this is not the right place to be putting this type of business. There's other areas in town that are more fitting for us, other zoning areas. They can exist, and that's fine. This is not the right location for
Thanks.
it. Actually, that's 2.8.1 for city in the town plan that will not alter the character of the neighborhood or impair reasonable appropriate use of adjoining properties. So that's exactly that. And it also, it says that in 2.8.1.2, the character of the affected area is defined by the zoning district, which the project was, I went to
like one story. There's something that will not. Well, it will not, I did see on it that it will not affect the historic. I'm gonna find that exactly, so come back to that.
We should, to add to what Rob was saying, we should remind ourselves that across the street, there is an art gallery, a someone in clothing store, a financial advisory.
Yeah, no, we heard this is the last hearing.
Yes.
Yep.
But the new information is, I went to Rutland Valley establishment. The neighbors to that are AMI Automobile, or Auto Detailing, Pete's Tire Lines, Oliver Seaver, U-Haul Moving, Aldi Rutland, Snowboard Station, and that's a ecosystem. That's where Valley belongs. Ecosystem that we have here is artisanal. It's high-end, it's value add. The community is pushing back because the community sees no value add to their business from value coming in. In fact, they see a risk to their property values and to their revenue streams. So we have to consider that and consider them as they are on the front line of this.
Thanks.
What if they fail? What happens then? If they honestly, just a general question.
I got a hand up.
That building's built, what if they fail?
My hand up.
That goes back to something I heard about, the color talking about all those changes that came in. They all went into existing buildings, and if they did fail, something else will go to those existing.
I have to ask everybody to be recognized by the chair before speaking, and also to go to the podium.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Wesley Boucher. Do I have to swear in? No, I do. I have to ask, if this building fails, what are we gonna have here? An eyesore? Realistically, does it get demolished? Does it get moved? Do we lose a building that we've had there forever? I mean, come on. What if they do? Because realistically, we're in a town, not a city. And I vow that my oil changes will drop. I will take my price right down to almost cost. And I think that most people in here that I have talked to will follow suit because realistically, we have now competition. Sure, bring competition, but not to a town. It's not going to merit. When they do fail and we put them under, what happens to that building? It gets stuck there for what, how long? My apologies.
Thanks.
Promise.
I got a hand up still.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on Zoom. May I speak?
Yes.
This is Audra Sabera. I live at 174 Elm. To that gentleman's point, I want to add, if I may, if this thing doesn't work, you might, consider, or what is the town actually prepared to do if it doesn't work? Because if you run some, as I did, run Valvoline through some legal databases, there's some issues with their cleanup. And, I know one of the arguments right now is, well, there's already a gas station, but, that kind of argument is like, a bank robber that's robbing a bank and then decides to roll down the window and shoot 4 people. And I am being a little extreme and emotional, but my question is, what are you going to do? That, like, we are asked to being stewards of the land. There are plants there. There is land there. There's going to be oil tanks on that land. What then? What happens if this thing does go? Is oil going to leak into the ground and then it gets into the water and, emissions? Like, are you okay with that? Are you prepared for that? What about environmental cleanup? Have you thought about that?
Well, I think they can speak to that, but I think there's going to be environmental cleanup from the existing gas station that's there now, and all the prior gas stations that were there, and all the prior auto repair shops that were there in the past. So I'm sure they're going to have to clean up. Do you want to speak to the cleanup, how that goes about?
Who pays for that? Well, I'm sorry, who pays for this?
Hang on just a second. We're taking testimony from the applicant here. He will explain it to you. I do not know the answer. You can listen.
By site will be cleaned up before Valvoline takes ownership of it. All that stuff will be cleaned up by the current owner before Valvoline starts doing anything. So, yeah, all that tanks, any soil that needs to be removed, all that stuff will be taken care of before Valvoline starts construction. Yeah, it all be cleaned up.
Right. And do you hire the environmental company that cleans up?
I think he stated that the owner is going to have it cleaned up before Valvoline takes.
That's private. That's private. The question is not happening.
Are you putting gas, you're not putting gas tanks in the ground?
Yeah, the only thing they store is used oil essentially, like new oil, used oil, and that's all in secondary containment, the basement, the concrete basement, so. In above ground tank, all the stuff is collected down in the basement. All for state and federal requirements, brand new tanks.
Thanks. Is there another question? Oh, one, two. Yes. So you have something new for us?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely, definitely. We've all been bandied about by all of these numbers, 59 seconds here, 24 feet here, and something else, but you've all lost sight of the main issue. The main issue is the fact, will there be fair competition between Valvoline and the small garage owners? Now, I believe in fair competition, provided it's between large business and large business, small business and small business. However, there is no fair competition in an unregulated free market economy between a large business and a small business. Now, as a newcomer to the area, how do you think Valvoline is going to capture market share? How do you think Valvoline is going to flood the market with discount coupons?
We can't dictate that. I mean,
That's what's going to be the end result.
It's no different than the small mom and pop little stores in town. And we get down by Price Chopper or TJ Maxx or something like that coming to town. I mean, they're allowed to come to town.
Right, but they can provide a huge array of items that the small mom and pop stores can't.
Okay.
Valvoline has the exact same products as our small garage owners. Valvoline motor oil, same thing as Exxon motor oil. If you mix Valvoline motor oil in your coffee's going to taste the same like Exxon motor oil in your coffee. But here's the main issue. As a newcomer, Valvoline would flood the market with discount coupons to capture market share. How do you think they're going to capture market share? They're not just going to sit back and wait for people to come. They're going to flood the market with discount coupons that are going to undercut the prices that are charged by our small garage operators. And the small garage operators who have been part of the fabric of Manchester services community for many years have serviced, they've serviced our cause for many years. Valvoline has a market cap of $4 billion. Market cap means the price of a stock times the number of shares outstanding. They're going to be up, the small business operators are, one, going to be up against a huge corporation, and two, they'll be up against Mr. Ferry, who has unlimited resources. Now, these small operators are undercapitalized, they're struggling financially, and Valvoline and Mr. Ferry will be able to absorb initial losses because they have the financial resources, and they will drive the small operators out of business. You've seen what Amazon's done, ravaged small businesses across the US. You've seen what Amazon has done and Walmart has done, ravaging small businesses across the US. But Amazon and Walmart provide an added value. They provide us with great prices. That's why we're happy to shop over there. Valvoline has no added value. The products are the same. You can call up and make an appointment with any of our small garage operators for an oil change. Valvoline does not produce any added value. Now, I would just like to say, I'm sorry?
This is going to be irrelevant here. This is not.
It's not irrelevant. It's the fact. This is what's going to happen. You think it's irrelevant if our small business owners get driven out of business?
I'm not-
Call that irrelevant?
Oh, I don't mean it that way.
I don't think
I'm
so.
saying that it's, we can't dictate what business comes in, whether it's Valvoline or.
But that's what happens in an unregulated free market economy.
But we don't control how business operates.
But you can control you can help the small business owners by making sure that there's no predatory practice.
Follow the ordinance.
What?
We can follow the ordinance as well.
There's no question of following an ordinance. Do you want to allow a large company that doesn't provide any added value to come in and drive out our small garage operators? I'm serious.
Okay.
If you want to do that,
Thanks.
you can say thanks, but you're making a big mistake if you allow Valvoline to come in here.
Anybody else? Bill?
Yeah, I'd like to
There was
discuss that
Oh.
particular issue. Man. I agree that the business situation is not under your purview. But what I do think is under your purview is whether this is an appropriate location for this type of business. All the other service businesses in town are outside of our core district where they don't impact the, let's say, the appearance and the normal activity that takes place in our core district. And to allow a corporation to come in and take a prime space in our core district and to be the only business that participates there, I think that's the unfair piece. When, from the visibility, but they're not fitting the character of the area. If they want to be in town, go into an outside mixed-use area, industrial zoning, where that type of business belongs. And then I think my business, one of my businesses that's involved in this type of business and the other businesses can equally compete. But allowing them to exist in our core business area, which is specifically caters to the tourist industry, our visitors, along with our residences, in the area of the retail and those types of businesses, this is not a business that belongs in this particular location.
Thanks.
I'm Isaac Krasny. I live on Highland Ave. I'll be able to see the wonderful glow of those lights from my house. I wanted to confirm my understanding that this board, because this is a conditional use approval, has to basically find that there is no undue adverse effect to the character of the surrounding area. Is that
correct? Yep.
How do you determine the character?
Undue effect on the character or the character?
The character.
From listening to the community.
Okay. That's just, I think the community that determines the character is here. And thank you for listening.
Thanks. More question?
I just wanted to let you know where we are distributing an analysis, section by section of the town center district, as it relates to the Manchester Land Use Development Ordinance, where we've identified sections and are explaining why we do not believe that it fits with the purpose. And as Bill was saying, and I will just highlight some because I know it's getting late and I don't want to speak for several minutes, but I ask you to please review these and get back to me with questions. This is not professionally done. This is done by the concerned citizens who are concerned about the character of the building, or I'm sorry, of the area. We need to promote a quality urban streetscape and pedestrian-friendly environment. That's what we're talking about. We need to encourage creation of housing, mixed-use inflow, and redevelopment that increases property values. There are studies that show that property values go down. Percentage may be up for debate, But I think everyone agrees that their property values across the street are not going to go up when they have to tell their neighbors that the Firefly is now being replaced by a Valvoline. There's an equity issue here too. I don't think any of us, the Valvoline team included, would want to live across the street from one of their establishments. And if anything speaks to the character of that, I think that's what we should take into account tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else on to, yep, yes, please.
This is what I was looking for before, and Bill has said it very organically, but I did have two things I found in the land use ordinances, 344. Applicants must demonstrate that the organization of new building, drives, parking areas, walkways, et cetera, are designed to be pedestrian-oriented, functional, and safe, and in keeping with the purpose of the underlining zoning district. And the other one is from the Manchester Town Plan from 2025 that says Manchester residents value the protection of historically significant sites and building areas. Historic district's mission is to protect the integrity of Manchester's 4 historic districts as living links to the town's past, and by requiring preservation of historic structures and new development to be compatible with the traditional historic neighborhood character within each district. And being the Depot is clearly an arts district. We are surrounded by creative businesses, creative food, people discover it. They call it the Soho of Manchester, whatever it is. This does not fit, and it will destroy coming into town. First thing you see, historic district, Valvoline, very confusing. So,
On Zoom. See no hands. Nothing else?
I'll make a motion to close.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. We got the Zoom figured out though. Sorry about that. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
You just started
You did a good job.
Somebody's gonna.
Determination.
Maybe we'll know if my husband is.
Had a meeting. It's in 45 days. Oh, that's 4 months. It's 25 days from now.
Yeah, I think that's what.
We'll write the finding.
Thank
you. Thanks, Steve.
No, it's closed.
It's closed.
I know.
We got it.
Yeah.
Make sure that everybody.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody.
I went and I drove down Depot. The lights, there are no lights.
Yeah.
It would look like a neon sign. Anyway, and I couldn't speak again. I thought. Please speak again, because.
No, here.
I know.
When do we know?
No, you could have spoke to the.
45 days?
45 days. Misunderstood you.
45 days.
Because I thought you said because if you didn't have anything new to say.
Within 45 days. Within 45.
Excuse me.
41.